was a lot of logging going on, sawmills. Was there any metalworking going on? Mining?
Just, oh, no.
How about rock quarries? People cutting up rock to build things.
I'm not aware of that, although I know that some of the nicer homes had rock foundations.
Okay.
So they weren't just dirt.
So in the house you lived in, did it have a floor, a wooden floor, or was it just a dirt floor?
No, when I was little, it was just a dirt floor, and that was one of the jobs of us little ones, was to keep it kind of swept smooth. And I don't know why it didn't get all wet and soggy like the roads.
Was it raised above the rest of the?
Maybe it was. It probably was, because there were a couple of steps from the road up into it.
Yeah, that's why it didn't get wet. It was above the road surface.
So it must have been built up, filled in, something when the house was being built. It's not like I ever asked about it. It was just there.
Yeah, just observations. Mm-hmm. So then whenever you got older, did a wood flooring come in?
Yeah.
Was that better?
It was. My brothers.
Older, your brothers?
Yeah, the older brothers. There are like 3 of them older than me, and a cousin, also older than I was. And the 4 of them worked together to place this wood. It was much easier to keep it clean, you know.
Yes.
To sweep it, to keep it, you know, and it stayed pretty even, not like the boards out in the road.
Yeah, because they were dry.
Mm-hmm.
Then did you put some type of cloth or weavings or something like that on the floor to help keep it warmer?
No, it was fine. It was plenty warm, so much warmer having the wood planks down than it was just the dirt.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, well, at least before I passed away, we never added anything to it.
The fireplace, did you have one fireplace or did you have one in each room, or?
We had a fireplace in the main. It was a big fireplace. And the main part, which was also the kitchen, and it was the cooking area and everything. And the table was there that we sat at to eat our meals. And yeah, that was a big fireplace. Stone.
Two-sided or one-sided? Meaning, could you cook from both sides or just cook from one side?
I'm still not
Some
following.
fireplaces are built up that the back is the back. Other fireplaces go through, so it's actually, you can see another room through it.
Oh,
But
no. It
yeah,
was just, you know, for the main room.
Okay.
And then, especially as the expansions were going on, then there were pot-bellied stoves we were able to put in there, and that kept them cozy.
Good. So all those places burned wood.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a younger's duty, I trust, to go make sure all the wood's gathered up and ready for all the fires.
Pretty much. And then once in a great while, somebody would forget to open the flue.
Oh yeah.
That was fun.
Yep.
Anyway.
So, how often did you guys take a bath? What's that?
Well, we washed up a lot, but to actually get in a big tub of water was a big deal. And that was usually if there was some event, like when the preacher would come to town. Everybody had to have a whole bath, be all nice and clean for the preacher. Or if there was a wedding or a funeral or some kind of a celebration or, you know, whatever. So it was, on an as-needed basis, shall we say. And, but, you know, in between those times, we just wash out of a bowl of water.
Did you have a room called a bathroom for doing that, or was it also done in the kitchen?
That was also done in the kitchen for the most part until the one extension was let out. Then then we'd get our water and retire to a specific room for privacy.
Okay. So,
Wash.
so until you had those strange men in the house, you really didn't care.
Right.
Okay. So I take it someone would have to heat the water and carry it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And was that given to who normally?
Not the little ones, but the once they were, you know, I don't know, about 9 or 10 and strong enough to carry a bucket or two of hot water. But the adults were the ones who took the water from the pot in the fireplace and put it in the buckets to be taken out.
Okay.
It was, you know, because that was too hot, too dangerous for young ones.
So there was a big pot over the fire cooking, or in a boiling water?
Yeah, pretty much boiling, because by the time it got doled out and taken to someone's room, wherever they were going to bathe, it would cool down a little bit.
So everyone would wash basically at the same time, so there's hot water for everyone?
Well, within a certain time frame, and
That's
it depended
okay.
on,
That's kind of what I meant.
yeah, before the water. Of course, the pot could be kept full of water and boiling for quite a while, so
Yeah.
depended.
So where'd your water come from?
There was a well in the back part of our property. And there were other wells, you know, but this one is the one that we used. And I think a neighbor also used that well, if I remember correctly. And it was your typical well with a bucket that lowered down in, and you cranked it back up, and then you hauled that bucket of water into your home and did whatever
Okay.
with it. And it was always fresh, clean, tasty
Yep.
water.
It always is.
In spite of all the pollution around, the water didn't seem to get it, you know.
Not yet, because it takes years for it to percolate through the ground to get to the water. This is stuff we have learned by now.
Yeah, but then the water percolates through the ground to get refreshed, to
Yeah.
get cleaned.
Yeah, it does. But some of the pollutants will not be cleaned out that way. They actually stay in the water. You end up getting diseases and stuff like that.
Ew.
Yeah, it was right. What else? Was there I want to say horser, but that's not right.
Somebody who tends horses.
A place where they're kept.
Well, people kept their own horses in their own stables and stuff.
Yeah, there we go. Stables. Everyone had a stable, just about. Is that what you're
Or
saying?
someplace, you know, like
Yeah.
we only had one horse, so we didn't need much more than just a little add-on to the side. But some people, particularly if you ran a business, a logging business or something connected like that, and you might have 2 or 4. Smaller ones had 2, other ones had 4 to
Like a
relieve the
team
one.
of horses. Say.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they need them.
Right. Was there someone in town that did? Oh yeah, Your answer to that question is a smithy.
Yeah.
Did you guys have anything known as metal nails for building things? Like you take a nail, drive it into wood, and we'll put two pieces of wood together? Or did you just...
I think there were buildings that were put together that way. I don't think the smithy had anything to do with making the nails.
Okay.
But wherever they came from, I don't know. But there were some people who could afford it who would use those, or in later years, maybe. I think there was some metal, no, I was going to say metal nails in our floor, but no, they were wooden pegs, which worked very well.
Yeah, that's what normal construction was back then, at that time. Did you have traveling salesmen? People to come around and sell you things like pots and pans or silverware or dresses or...
It seems to me I remember on a couple of occasions somebody coming through like that, but they were kind of iffy.
Shady?
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah.
My mother never trusted them. So.
Were there any mail services? Like if you wrote a letter to mail to someone else, how would it get the other place?
A postal thing.
Yes, there you go.
I don't know. I never sent any or received any. I don't recall my family ever doing that. There probably was something, but...
Was there a stagecoach or some form of transportation other than just your own horse or walking from city to city?
There were horse-drawn carriages. And sometimes people would kind of like take one of those to go clear across to the other side of the city. To the other end of the city, but I never did. And that could have been one way that these letters you're talking about could go back and forth.
Yeah, because in the West, that's what I'm familiar with. Western United States, Southwestern, they had stagecoaches, and that's what carried the mail around at first. Then they had Pony Express after that. What about a bank?
Oh, there were banks. I don't think my father ever had to deal with a bank.
Okay.
But I remember him being on construction crews where they were building a new bank.
Cool.
And so I'm assuming that there were more. You know, it was just as the city grew, more people came. There was more need for a bank, but I don't know.
So was the city still growing whenever you died?
Yeah.
Okay. So it still might be in existence today. But maybe not. It may have died when the logging ran out.
Oh, maybe, but wow, I can't imagine logs running out.
Oh, it will. We've decimated the earth.
Oh, but that's now.
It's now what happens very quickly. What type of foods did you eat? Just the stuff that you could raise?
Well, yeah, we would have our own small garden during the nicer, spring and summer months, and then we're able to cook and preserve whatever was left over at the end, of the harvest. And sometimes we would trade if we had an excess of a certain type of food, and neighbors or people down the street had a different excess, so we could trade out, And we did eat a lot of chicken.
So you raised a lot of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
What did you feed the chickens?
I remember scattering. I think it
Grain?
was corn or grain. Yeah, something
So
like
you
that.
also grew corn?
Somebody did. I don't recall that we had corn. Most our stuff was like salad bacons. I think there were radishes and carrots and things like that. I'm trying
So
to
who was responsible for maintenance of the garden?
Well, depending on what the younger kids, even the little ones, could help with the seeds and then covering up the seeds. They learned how to do that. And then as things grew, it was the older ones who hoed and weeded. And then older still, our mother would show us and guide us as to what to pick and what to let
Continue
ripen some more. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we ate a lot of cabbage and turnips. Never did like turnips.
I don't like them either.
But, they grew a lot. And potatoes grew real easily. And green beans. I think we had peas a few times that
Cool.
were pretty, yeah.
Did you have any type of melon? Like watermelon?
There were
or
different
cantaloupe
squash
or- Okay.
types. I don't really know if they were what year you get now, but
Yeah.
a lot of different squashes.
Did you have a root cellar?
Not at first, not when I was little. But which is kind of weird that as I was getting older, that's when my dad decided to build or did one out.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it took him so long to do that, but that made a big difference in what we could preserve
Oh yeah.
for the winter. And grains, I mean, there would be sometimes we could just go out and pick berries and wheat that was growing wild, and then my mother would cook it all up. She taught me how to do it, and I hated doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It was tedious work.
Yeah.
But then when you
That's
cooked
why
it,
you
it was
did it.
good. Yeah. Precisely.
So your father, he worked cutting down trees or hauling trees?
I don't think he ever hauled,
Okay.
but I think he did cut. And then as he got older, he worked in the mill, in the sawmill.
Okay.
Someone else cut them down, somebody else hauled them in and unloaded, and then, he and the crew would cut them down to what was needed.
Did he ever get injured that you know of?
I think he might have had some nicks, cuts, bruises.
Okay.
Just goes with the territory. Nothing serious.
No fingers cut off or anything
No.
like that? Okay.
Although I did notice that there were some men who were missing parts.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, saws do that to you.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see, roads. Did you have any, well, this is too early for combustion engines. Did you have any steam engines for
I
power?
saw them.
Yeah.
We didn't utilize it in our household, and
So is that what they use at the sawmill?
I think I was starting to get sick, so I wasn't too aware, but I think they were starting to convert some of the steel mills. Steel? Where did that come from?
Another splinter?
Yeah. Sawmill was trying to convert to steam. It wasn't an easy process,
No,
though.
it's not.
But
Any change from one form of power to the next is hard. It's difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah.